people do two. They do the Miyagi Chojun Sanchin and then the Higanona Kanro Sanchin. One has a turn, the other one doesn't. And the one that Ishinryu does is basically the same thing that Miyagi Chojun, straight forward, straight back. And I'll perform the Kanro Higanona. Okinawa Goju Yambukan, Kyan Kata Sanchin. Originally did an open hand Sanchin, and then it was changed. Some say he changed it, some say Miyagi Chojun changed it to the fist to get away from the Chinese influence as they moved into adopting more and more of the Okinawan Pei into the system. I don't think anybody knows exactly who closed the fist, but I never learned the open hand. But it's very, very similar to the Weiuchi, but breathing is different. It's more of a, instead of a prolonged, it's a pop at the end of each strike, sort of like the Weiuchi does. I've seen it performed, but I never learned it.
Okay.
Kata Sanchin. And the story goes that it was very rude to turn your back on the sensei. So they devised it so that he could sit there, they could go forward and backwards, and they wouldn't have to do the turn and turn their back on, and he could watch them. Toguchi Sensei, who was one of his direct pupils, states this is the reason that there's not the turn. But the turn is very important. As you step across, all of the Goju Kata base on that turn from Sanchin. And Sanchin is our Kyanga Kata, and that's why we do the turn, at least I do. The other one, I think, I might subscribe to the fact that maybe he was modified it just for those reasons. Because when he developed the Tensho Kata, it does the same thing. Straight up, straight back, and I never saw the reason for the repetition of the straight forward without the turn. So that may be why it's in there for some schools. But some schools do it both ways. Some schools do it only one way, either the Miyagi or the Kanro Higanaona. And then some schools will profess that they don't do it both ways, but they do in the closed door. But that's kind of the reason why there's two Sanchins in Goju-Ryu, if I understand the question. In Goju-Ryu, we come across and we go in and we kind of bring the pelvis forward.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And at the same time, you tighten up the buttocks. And you kind of pull everything and project it forward as you do the kata. And once you get to this point here, and then when you step, you don't want an exaggerated movement to come back up. You want to step and you're already in position, so that now all you have to do is actually tighten your stomach and push the pelvis forward. Just take it there. And then you should be there. And then you're protected over here. In one of our tests and demonstrations and whatnot, they use 2x4s to see if you got your legs where they should be, and you don't only want to miss that one time. And then you keep it there for the whole time. And I would say probably 90% of the katas you learn are to teach you basically one thing. Not all the techniques, the bunkai, everybody can do that. You're learning a stance. Yeah, but you're learning that stance, so that no matter what situation you may get into in an actual self-defense position, as we all know, you're not going to have the time to go, oh, I'm getting ready. Wait, hold on, buddy. Okay? You can strike out, and internally, and especially around your stomach area here, because it's so important. What your stomach does is everything in your hip twist and everything that you do generates from the center of your body. You want to be able to hit no matter, even if you were off the ground, say you were falling, and you could still hit, and this parts of your body would be into that punch, along with everything. And you wouldn't really need the ground. So the benefit is to learn the stance, and once you've learned the stance, and you've got it internally, then it's with you no matter what position. As you're falling, you're still able to get it to them. No, I think the benefit, and this is something that I've kind of researched myself as I get older. My sensei died in South America at doing demonstrations, and he did Sanchin very, very hard. A lot of the Goju people do, and they have a history of not living a long time, and I want to get past 60 or 39. Yeah. And I think you have to let your body tell you when it's time to start backing off on that real hard stuff. But the benefit, I think, is, and the best way to do it to prove it to yourself, is you've had a hard day at the workplace, you really feel tired, go home or go in your backyard or wherever you have and do a vigorous Sanchin. And I can absolutely guarantee you by the time you get to the front door, you're going to feel better. Because of the circulation that it causes the blood to flow through your body, because you're really making your heart pump, I think. And you're getting that circulation, and then that probably ties back to the moon and the sun and the universe, and all this kind of stuff is going on, and you just feel good. I know I do. But the actual health benefits, like a doctor would say, I don't know that I could tell you them. I know that if you got high blood pressure, back away from it a little bit and kind of tone it down, because you could pop that old aneurysm and you're screwed. First kata when you walk in the door. Goju is the very first thing you do. Everybody learns it, goes through it. It makes no difference if you understand the technique or not. Everybody comes out on the floor and follows the person in front of them, and they start them from the little kids, not with the hard. High school is about the time they start putting them into the hard training, but everybody learns Sanchin right there. It's the Kata of Goju. It's the first thing you learn, and it's the last kata you do.